Lost in Brazil, a love affair that transcends age and nationality. The story takes place in a remote Brazilian town. Tells the story of a 23-year-old Chinese youth. On the go, meet a 52-year-old Brazilian woman. The story of love. If you like our story, please subscribe and share. Let's witness more touching love together. Zhang Guo is a 23-year-old Chinese university student. Studied photography at a university in Beijing. After graduating, he didn't choose to look for a job right away. Instead, I decided to see the outside world. He was tired of the unchanged life at home, eager to capture more different landscapes with the lens. Despite the strong opposition of the family, he still left a sentence that life is too short. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may. Bring a camera and simple luggage. Embarked on a journey to South America. At first, he traveled mainly in Southeast Asian countries. But by chance, he saw some online about the districts of the Brazilian Amazon. Photo. I was immediately fascinated by the original and mysterious sight. Vast tropical rainforest, the rushing Amazon River, and the simple people who live there. Zhang Guo did not hesitate to buy a plane ticket to Brazil. He absorbs everything Brazil has to offer like a sponge. Crazy to take pictures. Careful record-keeping. Until one day, he decided to hitchhike. Travel to the off-the-beaten-path districts of northern Brazil. Locals warned him, it's dangerous there. The road is rough. Poor infrastructure. But he insisted on going. Only there. I was able to see the real Brazil. So, he tossed and turned around all kinds of dilapidated trucks and crowded coaches towards the edge of civilization. Hitchhiking isn't always smooth sailing. Just as he expected, he had to endure bumpy dirt roads and narrow river channels. Sudden rainstorms can block roads, keep him trapped for days. At first, he thought it was fresh and interesting. But soon, Zhang Guo felt physically exhausted. After a long journey of several days, said the truck driver who dropped him off. That's all there I am. I want to keep going. Figure it out for yourself. After saying that, he walked away, leaving Zhang Guo alone on the desolate roadside. It is surrounded by towering bushes and cracked land. The hot, humid air was suffocating. Zhang Guo carried a heavy backpack and a camera, walking aimlessly along the road. Anxiety set in. Will anyone else pass by? It took about an hour or two to walk. The sun began to sink in the west. The sky was stained blood red. It looks like a storm is coming. The wind is also getting stronger. Showers typical of tropical climates. It can pour down at any time. Zhang Guo quickened his pace. But there is still no trace of the vehicle in sight. If it rains, I'm done. He felt exhausted. I'm running out of water. That's when it happened. The faint sound of a truck engine could be heard in the distance. Zhang Guo waved his hands desperately, trying to get the attention of the truck. The truck stopped. The driver asked in Portuguese where you were going. Zhang Guo pleaded in broken Portuguese and gestures. I'm a tourist. Would like to go to a nearby village. Please take me to a place where I can see the village. The driver promised him. Zhang Guo curled up in the back of the truck. Try to stay awake. As the vehicle keeps jolting, the sunset disappears. Night falls. The rain also began to fall. Rainwater seeps into the car, drenched him. The wind howled and beat against his body. Suddenly, the truck shook violently. The driver said I couldn't go any further. The engine may be going to break. Then he left Zhang Guo in the wilderness. There is a small village in front. It's about 12 hours to walk. After saying that, he drove away indifferently. Zhang Guo is alone and doesn't know how to survive this stormy night. Pitch black roads. The storm raged. There was silence. Zhang Guo clutched his backpack tightly, waiting for passing cars. But none showed up. There is no cell phone signal. Completely out of effect. I'm done. He thought, I can't just spend the night in the rain. That's when it happened. There was a faint glow in the distance. Is it a car headlight? Zhang Guo took out the flashlight he was carrying, desperately waving. Hope it gets noticed. Sure enough, a car. Or rather, a jeep slowly approaching. Zhang stepped forward cautiously. Signal to stop. The car stopped. Down with a person. It seemed to be a man of small stature, but a Brazilian woman with a strong physique. She doesn't look young, but it's hard to tell in dim light. Zhang tried to communicate with him in English, but he was at a loss. Answer in Portuguese. Zhang had no choice but to speak in broken Portuguese. I'm a tourist. Lost and wanted to go to a nearby village. He looked at him carefully. Seems to understand. He replied that there was a village nearby. I run a hostel there. He could only surmise from his expression. But thank goodness. He seemed willing to help him. He motioned for him to get into the car. Zhang got into the car gratefully. The car is old, but the various equipment and trim installed on the driver's seat indicates that the lady often runs long distances. Raindrops pounded on the car windows. Fog filled the windshield. It's hard to see the road ahead. Nevertheless, he still drove the vehicle effortlessly. He was curious. What does he do in this remote district? It took about an hour to drive. The car drove over a small hill, entered a small village. The rain is getting lighter. The streets are dim and quiet. There are only a few old street lamps. There are only a few sparse old buildings here. He stops. Get out. Signaling that it was over. That's where I operate. Zhang looked in the direction he was pointing. See a two-story building. There is a dilapidated signboard hanging on it. Zhang got out of the car with an umbrella. Walk into this building. It is a place with a hotel and a restaurant in one. There is a spacious hall. There are several dining tables. There is also an area that looks like a bar. This is my hostel. He said, it's called the Peace Hotel. Probably the meaning of the Tranquility Inn. The signboard is a little old. Zhang barely understood. But he replied, thank you very much. I really didn't expect to find a place like this. He looked like he was in his 40s, maybe close to 52 years old. His voice was low and calm. The expression is very gentle. He straightened his rain-soaked hair. Hand Zhang a towel. Let him dry himself. Zhang smiled a little embarrassedly and said thank you. My name is Zhang. It's Chinese. I came here to take pictures of the scenery here. He also introduced himself. My name is Laura. Run this hostel in this village. Do you think I'm old? Zhang replied, of course not. I admire you. Able to run a hotel in such a difficult environment. He sincerely expressed his admiration. Laura turned on the light. Serve him hot tea and bread. Zhang felt hungry. I ate it gratefully. There happens to be an empty room today. You can stay there. The money will be paid later. Laura said generously. Zhang hurriedly thanked him. Thank you so much. You are my savior. Saved me from the storm. He kept expressing his gratitude. That night, Zhang walked into the room. Lying on a humble bed, he took a hot shower. Listened to the sound of rain outside the window. Feel a strange sense of surreality. A young Chinese man in his early 20s. Now it's in a remote part of Brazil. Stayed in a hostel run by a 52-year-old woman. What will happen here? He thought his heart was full of anticipation and uneasiness. The next morning, when the sun rises, the rain has stopped. Zhang walked out of the room. Look around the halls. Same as signboards. The interior decoration is also a bit old, but it can be seen that it has been repaired. There is a huge picture hanging on the wall. Some magazines and decorations. Creates a rustic feel. Laura was busy in the kitchen. When Zhang approached, she said, let's have a light breakfast before we go. Do you want to drink coffee? Zhang's Portuguese is still very poor, but he understood. He replied yes. Thanks, not a moment. Laura brought a tray. It was topped with bread, fruit, juice, and coffee. They sat facing each other. Start sharing each other's stories. Zhang introduced his situation. He is a university student in China, passionate about photography. After graduating, I started traveling. Laura shared her life experience. She worked in the city when she was young. Later, they got married. but there have been no children. After the death of her husband, she returned to her hometown. The house left by his parents was converted into a hotel. I'm older. It's lonely to live alone, but this job allows me to meet a lot of people. It makes a lot of sense, he said. Zhangguo said with sincere admiration. You're amazing. After breakfast, Zhangguo walked around outside the hotel. The village is small. There are only a few streets, 1 or 2 stores. There's also one that looks like a repair shop or a hardware store. In total, there are about 152 inhabitants. It is surrounded by a mix of grasslands and jungles. Occasionally, some farms can be seen. Zhangguo took out his camera and photographed all corners of the village. Villagers, curiously looking at this unfamiliar Asian face, and waved to him. Meanwhile, Laura is busy taking care of the guests. But there were almost no guests in the inn that day. There was only Zhangguo and a middle-aged couple, so a little bit more free in the morning. Laura suggested, "Do you need a guide? I can take you to some of the trails I know." Zhangguo gladly accepted. "Are you sure? That's great. It would be nice to be able to follow the locals." Thereupon, they got into an old jeep parked next to the hotel. Car, driving to a hill near the village. Follow a winding path. They saw tropical plants and clear skies. On the other side, there is a beautiful lake. Zhangguo kept pressing the shutter. "You're young. That's how passionate about photography is. Why do you like photography so much?" Laura asked. Zhangguo replied, "When I was a child, my grandfather gave me a camera. I want to capture the beauty of this world with my camera. This desire is getting stronger. So I came all the way here. Hear this." Laura's expression darkened a little. "I didn't have any big dreams when I was younger. Just working and getting married in the city. The husband died very young. And so the time passed. Now it feels like it's a foregone conclusion. But to see a young man as energetic as you, I also wonder if I should try to do something about it as well." Zhangguo saw a trace of sadness in his eyes. The next few days, Zhangguo still lives in the hotel. Originally, he had planned to travel through the village to other places. But the road conditions are bad, and it's hard to get a ride. Continuous heavy rains blocked the road. Even the villagers did not dare to travel easily. Therefore, Zhangguo had no choice. "I can only continue to stay in this small village." It also gave him more to communicate with Laura, and the opportunity to document the land with a lens. However, over time, some small friction also began. Appear. Laura sometimes gets up too late because of Zhangguo, or complain about him without tidying up the room. And Zhangguo considers himself a liberal. These rules made him feel uncomfortable. For example, he was still fiddling with his photographic equipment late at night. Affected the rest of the other guests. Or he touched the car keys without permission. Blamed by Laura. Once, Zhangguo sneaked into the storage room of the hotel. Look for something that can be used as a prop for photography. Laura was angry that it was a private space. "Why don't you just flip around without saying hello?" Zhangguo hurriedly apologized, but Laura's attitude is still cold. Is it necessary to be so angry? Zhangguo also felt a little aggrieved. Because I'm in a foreign country, facing a stranger who is much older. Between them, there are some insurmountable cultural differences. Eventually, however, Zhangguo still sincerely apologized to Laura. Laura softened her tone, too, and I was a little sensitive. "I'm sorry, but you shouldn't touch my stuff without permission." Arguably, their relationship is after going through these little frictions. Instead, it becomes more intimate. If you want to deepen your relationship with each other, conflict is inevitable. Soon after, an unexpected event. Let the relationship between Zhangguo and Laura. A subtle change has taken place. One afternoon, Zhangguo went to climb the mountain alone. Accidentally sprained my foot. Fell to the ground. He also suffered a knee injury. The rugged mountain roads are very slippery. All he cares about is taking pictures. Didn't notice the road under your feet. He tried to get up on his own, but the pain was unbearable. I tried calling for help again, but there is no signal on the phone. After a painful struggle, a villager passing by found the injured Zhang and hurriedly informed Laura. Laura quickly drove up the hill in a jeep. Perform a simple bandaging for Zhang. You're always so careless. Let you have a good rest. But I didn't listen. Laura reproached. You get hurt so often. I'm really worried about you. Zhang endured the pain and said, Sorry, I didn't mean to. In the end, Laura sent Zhang to him. A humble clinic in the village. Fortunately, the injuries were not serious. The doctor advised him to rest for a few days. In the days that followed, Laura takes care of Zhang meticulously. He prepares meals for him every day. Replace the bandage. Feed him medicine. Look at Laura's busy figure. An indescribable emotion swelled up in Zhang's heart. This woman who is so much older than me. At first, I just thought of her as my savior. But now she takes such good care of me. What the hell is it like? Is it motherly love? Or love? His, however, is over 100 years old. Youth is not there. But the traces of time are there. There is a unique charm precipitated in him. Unlike young girls, Laura, it exudes a calming and reassuring atmosphere. Zhang was confused. Did I have a strange feeling about him? Is this possible? Our age gap is so wide. Due to a knee injury, Zhang could only stay in the room and rest. During this time, he and Laura had more opportunities to communicate. They share each other's pasts, family, and painful experiences. Laura got married in her 20s. But married life was not a happy one. He has not had children since the divorce. Later, he worked in the city, until I heard that my parents were sick. I returned to my hometown to take care of them, and inherited the inn after their death. I never thought about it. I will be alone at the age of 52. People around me persuaded me to remarry. But I haven't met anyone who makes my heart flutter. Laura calmly recounts her past. Zhang cautiously asked, No children. Do you feel sorry? Laura replied when she was young. I also dreamed of having a happy family. But life didn't go the way I envisioned it. Now I've given up. It felt like it was too late. The sadness in Laura's tone touched Zhang's heart. He comforted, No, I don't think it's too late. I'm still very young. But I believe that everyone has their own time. Laura smiled. There was silence between the two. Outside, birds chirp happily in the branches. Sunlight pours into the room through the windows. Zhang suddenly felt his heart beat faster. What's going on? He may have been 52 years old, but he was very attractive to me. A few days later, Zhang's injuries improved. You can walk around the village on crutches. Laura accompanies him and says that the road will be open soon. The rain has stopped. There should be a car passing by in a few days. Zhang barely squeezed out a smile. But the heart is extremely heavy. If the road is really open, I'm leaving. What will happen to him after I leave? There is a huge gap between us in terms of nationality and age. Is there really a future? That night, a few more guests stayed at the hotel. They are young people who come to see the festival. Zhang watched them and joked with Laura. Enjoy dinner together. An inexplicable sense of jealousy welled up in my heart. Why is he smiling at those people? Even he thought it was incredible. But he did feel the thrill. The next morning, he was alone, come to a misty hill near the village. The injured knee still ached, but he still insisted on going up slowly. Just as he raised his camera to take a picture, a familiar voice came from behind him. Your feet aren't healed yet. Don't go too far. Zhang looked back. Laura was standing behind him. Watch you sneak out in the morning. I hurried after him, Laura explained. Zhang was touched by her concern. They sat side by side. Look at the sea of clouds and the rising sun. Zhang said calmly. I'm probably going to leave soon. The thought of getting out of here. I just feel sad. Laura hesitated. He replied that he should leave. You have a life of your own. I won't stop you. Although he said so. But there was a tremor in his voice. Zhonghua could no longer suppress the emotions in his heart. Gently shook her hand. Are you really not stopping me? Laura paused. In a trembling voice, he said, I want to stop you. But what can I do? I can only cherish this time. It was in that moment. Zhonghua kissed her lightly on the lips. Laura's eyes widened in surprise. But he soon responded gently. He seemed to be ready. It was a brief kiss. On the hills where the sun rises, the fog was filled. The two of them were cautious. Confirmed the beginning of their love. The age difference is more than 30 years. There are differences in language and culture. But at that moment, a warmth that surpasses all else surrounds them. Since then, Zhonghua and Laura, although it is difficult to openly admit each other's lovers, but their feelings are quietly growing. When there are guests in the hotel, they behave like normal friends. But when it's just the two of them, they will hold hands and hug unabashedly. Or at work, have some intimate touches. Zhonghua is young, but he could feel Laura's mature charm and the precipitation of the years. Laura seems to have opened her long-sealed heart by Zhonghua's youthful vitality and innocent enthusiasm. Deeply intrigued. Of course, they are also worried about the future of the relationship. Zhonghua is just one. He has a family and a career in China. Laura has roots in this small village in Brazil. Own your own hostel and life. The obstacles to reality are enormous. But when love comes, reason tends to take a back seat. They decided to cherish the moment, enjoy each other's company. Until one day, Zhonghua told Laura, he's been connected to a ride. You can leave in a few days. He tried to make his tone sound calm. But my heart is full of reluctance. I know, Laura said as she tried to hide her expression. But there was still a hint of loss in his eyes. If we are separated like this, is it all over? Zhonghua said frankly. I want to protect our relationship. Laura was silent for a moment. Answer, let's keep in touch. Maybe I will go to China in the future. Maybe you'll come back. Who knows what the future holds? On their last night together, they climbed onto the roof of the hotel storeroom. Let's look at the stars in the sky. A gentle breeze was blowing on their faces. The faint lights of the village flickered in the distance. I'll never forget you. Zhonghua choked up and said, even if I'm old, I think I'll always remember this moment as well. Laura replied, me too. I never thought about it. I would have fallen in love with a man so young. Then, they hugged each other tightly. A loving kiss was shared. The night is getting darker. Their hearts are also clinging to each other. A few days later, Zhonghua packed his bags and left the hotel. Laura stood at the door and waved goodbye. Have a safe trip. We will definitely meet again. Zhonghua nodded. Promise I'll be back. Don't forget to contact me. After saying that, he left without looking back. He left the village by various means of transport. Eventually, a transfer flight back to China was made in another city. After returning to China, Zhonghua restarted his familiar life. He was busy putting together a portfolio of photographs, preparation of exhibitions. But I still can't stop thinking about Laura. At night, he is often overwhelmed by the bitterness of longing. They occasionally send messages from their phones. Laura sent a message in Portuguese. Zhonghua replied with translation software. Due to the poor local internet signal, video calls are almost impossible. One night, Laura suddenly sent a message. I think I might be pregnant. Zhonghua was shocked. Although they haven't been together for long, but they are in the absence of any protection. Had a relationship. He wanted to ask about the situation, but the signal was interrupted. He did not receive any reply. After a few days of anxious waiting, Laura finally sent a message. I went to the hospital for a checkup. It's really pregnant. I'm also confused, but perhaps it is a blessing. Zhonghua didn't know what to say. He's that old. I never thought he would have a baby, but maybe this is his last chance. He was at a loss. But I also want to take my responsibility. I'll go. Although I can't go right away. But I'll be ready in 2 or 3 months. Laura thanked him, but he also said frankly, I don't know how to deal with this. His tone sounded a little agitated. After all, this is already an advanced pregnancy. The stakes are high. He must have had a lot of concerns. Zhang Guo adjusted all his plans. He postponed the contract for a new project with the publishing house. Tell your friends that you're going to South America again, because something happened at home. But he never told his parents the truth. I'm still in a mess myself. How do you explain it to them? After much thought, a month and a half later, he boarded a flight to Brazil again. She finally returned to the small village. Back to Laura's side, Laura looked even more tired. Her belly was already bulging slightly. Seems to be suffering from morning sickness. But when I saw Zhang Guo appear, she was still in tears. You're really here. Thank you. Zhang Guo held her hand tightly. Said, of course. This is my child. I have to be there for you. Even so, they are still uneasy in their hearts. Pregnancy and childbirth are inherently risky. After the birth of the child, what does the future hold? Will Zhang Guo stay in Brazil forever? Or will bring the child back to China? Laura couldn't give up his life in the inn and village. How are they going to arrange it all? How should Laura continue to run the hotel? There are many more questions ahead of them. After consultation, they decided to put the children first. Zhang Guo has always been by Laura's side until the child is born. As for the future, they decided to make a decision when the time came. Zhang Guo decided, as much as possible, the work of China can be done online, although the income will be affected. But he said the money could be earned later. But a child is born only once. During pregnancy, Laura's physical condition is getting worse and worse. Originally, he took on the hotel job alone. It's getting harder and harder. Zhang Guo was on the side to help. But he lacked experience after all. Always clumsy. Mistakes are often made. Oops, where did I put the keys? Late breakfast. Because of these little things, the two sometimes get into arguments. Once, one guest was harshly critical of the service. Stresses Laura. You should take care of it. You're a bumbling guest. You can't understand what to say. Zhang Guo also felt aggrieved. I don't know. All of a sudden, they got angry. And they speak Portuguese too fast. I don't understand. He argued. Both were angry. But Laura suddenly felt a pain in her abdomen. This startled both of them. Thankfully, it didn't matter. But they also began to reflect. If we continue to quarrel like this, it's not going to work. They are also on the hostel schedule. There was a conflict. Zhang Guo said that I wanted to go out in the afternoon to take some pictures. Laura said I'm not feeling well right now. It's hard to take care of the hostel alone. Zhang Guo complained. I feel like I'm going to be stuck here. I'm about to suffocate. Eventually, after an open and honest communication, they decided. Hire a neighbor from the village to do a temporary job. Help to take care of the hostel. In this way, Zhang Guo can spare some time. Do what you love. When they solve these contradictions one by one, their relationship has also become closer. After a quarrel, they will apologize to each other, confirm each other's love with a warm hug. When Laura was 8 months pregnant, the doctor advised her to be careful, because she belongs to the advanced maternal age. Don't overexert yourself. Get plenty of rest, the doctor advised. Laura sighed, said the hotel was too busy. There is not enough manpower. Zhang Guo comforted her and said that I would try my best to help. Don't worry. In fact, he's put his heart and soul into it. Homes and hotels are in operation. Never prepare meals from guests. To clean the room. And then to deal with some simple bookings. He was clumsy at first, but gradually I became proficient. Meanwhile, the people in the village are also talking behind their backs. Finger at this couple with a huge age difference. What the hell did that young man like about that old woman? I heard that they were going to have a baby. What should I do in the future? In the face of these gossips, the two sometimes feel sad. But soon they were relieved. It's a life we choose for ourselves. There's no need to care what others say. Sometimes some kind villagers will also comfort them. If you have any difficulties, just let us know. We will help you. The due date is getting closer. Zhang Guo is worried every day. What if she's going to give birth all of a sudden? The hospital is far from here. Laura was also worried. However, the results of the examination showed that he was in good physical condition. Finally, at dawn, Laura began to feel labor pains. Zhang Guo hurriedly prepared the car. Laura's face turned pale from the pain. They could have gave birth in a modest medical center in the village. But considering the security issue, they still decide, go to the big hospital a few hours' drive away. But unfortunately, it was raining heavily. The road is very slippery. Zhang Guo drove the car. I silently prayed in my heart that I would be safe. Laura groaned in pain. The car almost got stuck in a muddy mess on the side of the road, but he still fought his way out. When they arrived at the hospital, Laura was exhausted. Nurses and doctors hurriedly pushed her into the delivery room. Zhang Guo held her hand tightly. Encourage the Tao to exert some more force. You can. Time seems to pass very slowly. Laola let out a cry of pain. Zhang Guo watched from the sidelines. The heart is like a knife, but she could only cheer for her silently. Finally, at dawn, a crisp baby cry resounded through the delivery room. It's a daughter. Congratulations, the doctor said with a smile. Zhang Guo hugged the child and burst into tears of excitement. Laura looked tired, but there was a happy smile on his face. Our daughter. They shed tears of happiness, gently holding her daughter's little hand. The child is healthy. Laura's body is also recovering well. A few days later, they returned to the hotel with their daughter in their arms. The villagers applauded and congratulated them. Congratulations. I like that an elderly woman can give birth to such a healthy child. It's just wonderful. Zhang Guo hugged his lovely daughter and muttered to himself, we're really moms and dads. I can't believe it! Taking care of a child is not easy, especially at night. The child is always crying. Laura had to drag her tired body out of bed. It was very difficult for him. Even if Zhang Guo helped make milk powder and change diapers, he's always clumsy too. Rush. They take turns taking care of the children. Also run a hotel. It's physically and mentally exhausting, but whenever they see the child sleeping quietly in bed, breathing in a faint breath, they will all feel extremely happy. That's it. A family that began with the birth of a daughter. Slowly it was built up. Zhang Guo needs to go back to China to deal with some business. But for the time being, he chose to stay in Brazil. Take care of Laura and daughter. When he told his parents about it, they were very shocked and opposed at first. But the children have already been born. Zhang Guo said that I must take my own responsibility. In the end, they chose to understand and support. But they hope to see their granddaughter in the future. Time flies. When my daughter was about 2 years old, Laura told Zhang Guo she was pregnant again. I think we're going to have another baby. Zhang Guo was very happy. But at the same time, there are some worries. How are they going to raise their 2 children? However, they were soon relieved. They laughed and said to each other that there would be one more child. Life will be more interesting. The process of the second pregnancy was much smoother than the first. Laura already has experience. Zhang Guo is also used to taking care of children and pregnant women. In the village, people gradually accepted them and start treating them like any other couple. Around the time of the birth of the child, Zhang Guo accompanied Laura to the hospital again, gave birth to another daughter and gave birth to a daughter. The eldest daughter looked at her younger sister curiously. Babbling baby. Zhang Guo and Laura couldn't help but laugh. After having 2 daughters, the hostel has also become more lively. Sometimes, guests also come here with their children. Children play together, filled the inn with laughter. Of course, as Laura gradually grew old, his health is also getting worse and worse. Zhang Guo took on more work. He's busy every day, cleaning up for a while, cook for a while, helped with bookings in a moment. He mainly finds time in the early morning or evening. Organize your photography. Post on social media. Increase revenue. That's it. They live in one by Laura, 2 daughters. Even Laura's father formed a large family. Happiness and warmth. One day, Laura suddenly felt unwell. Go to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor told her. She was pregnant again. Zhang Guo was completely shocked. Now I have 3 children. Laura was also incredible. She said to herself that I was my age. Do you want to have children? But it's already happening. They can only accept this once. The results of the inspection are displayed. She was pregnant with a boy. Zhang Guo was overjoyed. It's good enough to have 2 daughters. Now he has a son. Laura also said I was old. This may be the last time I have a baby. We have to cherish her. This time, the child came into the world ahead of schedule. In the middle of the night, Laura suddenly began to feel labor pains. Zhang Guo entrusted his 2 daughters to the care of neighbors. Hurriedly drove Laura to the hospital. This is already the 3rd time. Zhang Guo is very familiar with everything in the delivery room. But he still felt nervous. When Laura let out a scream of pain, a loud baby cry pierced the silent night sky. Their son was born at dawn. Finish. He's a healthy boy, the doctor said excitedly. Laura was exhausted, but there were tears in his eyes. Zhang Guo hugged his son and choked up and said, "Our son." After their son returned to the hotel, they had a simple celebratory party. The villagers also came to congratulate them. Great, congratulations on your success. The 2 daughters looked at their younger brother curiously. It seems to be in a young mind. I felt a hint of jealousy. But over time, they all loved this lovely little brother very much. The inn was filled with the cries of babies, the sound of children playing, and the happy laughter of the couple. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, the youngest son is 7 years old. 2 daughters. They also grew into 12-year-old and 10-year-old girls. Laura is approaching 60 years old. Zhang Guo is also in his 30s. Their hostel is well known in the local area. It is often visited by tourists. Experience the local culture. Zhang Guo promoted the hotel through social media and published a collection of photographs. Obtained a stable income. The children attend a school in Brazil. Zhang Guo also taught them Chinese at home. Therefore, the children are fluent in Portuguese and simple Chinese. Zhang Guo and Laura's relationship is also getting deeper and deeper. They have long since become each other's lives. An integral part of it. Occasionally, they will be because of some trivial matters in life. A quarrel broke out, but the trust and love that has been built over the years make their feelings more indestructible. The villagers also treated the couple warmly. People who used to have a strange eye, long gone. Instead, blessings and praises are given. Most people think, as long as 2 people truly love each other. What is age? The family is planning a trip to China one day. Children should go and see their grandparents. Experience the culture of China. Zhang Guo's parents. I have been missing their granddaughter and grandson. So they decided to stay in China for 2 or 3 months. Laura was hesitant at first, but the hotel's operations are on track. They can be entrusted to a reliable villager. When they arrived in China by plane, Zhang Guo's parents greeted them excitedly. My granddaughter's grandson. The children don't speak much Chinese yet, but he can also stumble and shout at his grandmother and grandfather. During the period in China, the eldest daughter is full of praise for the prosperity and beauty of Beijing. The second daughter is a traditional Chinese dress. Hanfu has generated a lot of interest. The youngest son fell in love with Chinese internet cafes and a variety of street food. Laura laughs and says that big cities are too complicated. I'm still used to living in a small village in Brazil. But he also enjoys experiencing new things in China. For example, go to Beijing's famous attractions. Taste a variety of Chinese cuisines. Zhang Guo's parents, for their 3 granddaughters and grandchildren, made a variety of delicacies, poured all the love. Look at the scene in front of you. Zhang Guo felt extremely happy and proud. He sighed. We have become such a large family. After returning to Brazil from a trip to China, their love and family became stronger. The children were excited to share with their friends what they saw and heard in China. Laura was full of praise for Zhangguo's parents. Say how kind and loving they are. Look at this scene. Zhangguo felt extremely happy. Once again, he marveled at the miracle of fate. He never thought of it, the experience of getting lost in a storm. It would have made him so happy. Happy family. In this quiet and remote village in Brazil, there is a small but cozy hostel. There is a special family living there. The family consists of a couple with a huge age difference and their 3 children. Though it is surrounded by desolate grasslands and dense jungles, the roads were also full of dust. But in this hostel, it is always filled with warmth and laughter. Zhangguo and Laura are still deeply in love with each other. They are also concerned about the future of their children. If they want to go to the big city to develop, we must support them. Whether it's going to college or learning other skills. What about us? Of course, I still want to continue to run the inn. This is the foundation of our lives. Right. They are planning their future lives, looking forward to a better tomorrow. Occasionally, they also think about life in China. Maybe later, they will go there for a while longer. Someone asked Zhangguo, "There is such a big age difference between you. Why can you still be so affectionate?" Zhangguo replied with a smile in front of love. Age is not an issue at all. Of course, there may be some difficulties in reality, but as long as you truly love each other, mutual understanding and tolerance, a solution will be found. Laura also said, "Who would have thought? I will have a baby when I am 52 years old. Start a family with this guy." Life is full of unknowns, and it's even more exciting because of this. Every morning, the whole family would sit around the dining table. Bread, fruit, and coffee were shared. The children go to school happily. Zhangguo was busy receiving guests or sorting out photos. Laura goes to town to buy ingredients. In the evening, the children return home. Twitter shares stories that happened in a day. Sometimes, they also play in the water in the yard. To withstand the hot weather, on weekends at the time, they will take the children with them. Go for a picnic at a nearby waterfall or river. Zhangguo recorded these beautiful moments with his camera. Make precious memories for children. The second daughter showed a keen interest in painting. She would often scribble on the walls. Therefore, I was criticized by my mother. The eldest daughter likes to read. She said she was going to work at a library in the city. The younger son is very fond of sports. He was always running around the yard with energy, play soccer or play in the creek. Mom Laura is close to 60 years old though, but he was still in good health. And the hotel is run impressively. Although his father Zhangguo is only in his 30s, but he did his duty, playing the role of husband and father, and insist on sorting out photos and articles late at night. Work for their future. One day, Zhangguo looked up at the starry sky. I suddenly remembered that night many years ago. If I hadn't gotten lost at the time, we still have such a happy family? He smiled, Laura standing beside him. It seemed to see through his mind. Hold his hand and jokingly say so. The luckiest thing in your life is getting lost. Zhangguo replied with a smile that it was true. That storm started our lives. Life is full of unknowns. But it's also better because of it. That's it, in this peaceful little Brazilian village. In the cheerful laughter of children, the footsteps of hotel guests, and the strong love between husband and wife. This special family, continuing their peaceful and happy life. Whenever a guest comes, Zhangguo speaks English, crappy Portuguese, and a little bit of Chinese. Come and give them a warm welcome. Laura relied on his skillful management and delicious meals. Come and entertain a guest, the children, by meeting new people from all over the world, constantly accumulating knowledge and experience. The villagers were also delighted, seeing their family living happily together. Those doubts and strange eyes of the past, long gone, their lives. It may be unimaginable in other parts of the world, but it proves that love can transcend borders and ages, even culture. In this hot Brazilian hamlet, they were in a simple but comfortable hostel, weaving the dream of the future together. If the eldest daughter wants to go to the city when she grows up, they will give her full support. If the second daughter shows talent in art, they will also do their best to nurture her interests. They want it too. The youngest son was able to run freely, play, grow happily, while experiencing these wonderful moments together. Zhonghua and Laura. Differences in nationality and age have long since transcended a gaze that was once incomprehensible. It also became envy and blessing. They are really happy to live together. That's what the villagers often say about them. The children also treated Laura and Zhonghua with love and respect. They sometimes asked curiously, why is there such a difference in age between mom and dad? But they also accepted it in the face of love. None of this is a problem. We live happily together as a family. That's enough. Answer. One day, Laola suddenly remembered. The night I met Zhonghua for the first time, he was filled with emotion. If I hadn't crossed that road that day, this Chinese youth could be in danger. Or at least we won't meet. He remembered it. The heart will still be pounding. Zhonghua also said with deep feelings. This is how love comes unexpectedly. Then he added with a smile that the storm, and that little one, miracles have finally made us happy now. Over here, it has become the warmest harbor in my life. Thank you for listening to this wonderful story today. Hope this story of love and perseverance, it can bring you warmth and emotion. May we all be brave in our pursuit of true love. Cherish every beautiful moment in your life.